What if I told you that your financial situation right now has almost nothing to do with how hard you work? What if the real reason some people build wealth effortlessly, while others struggle their entire lives, has nothing to do with luck, connections, or even intelligence in the traditional sense? There is a specific type of intelligence that determines everything: how much you earn, how much you keep, how much you grow, and how much you leave behind. Most people never develop it. Most people never even know it exists. It operates silently beneath every financial decision you make. It shapes your relationship with money before you even open your wallet. And the frightening part is this: you are already at one of its levels right now. The question is, which one? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at money the same way again. Level 1 is where most people begin, and tragically, where most people stay. At this level, money feels like a mysterious force that appears and disappears without explanation. You work, you get paid, and somehow by the end of the month there is nothing left. You have no idea where it went. There is no budget, no plan, no awareness of the gap between what comes in and what goes out. Expenses feel like emergencies, even when they were completely predictable. The car needs repair, and it feels like a crisis, even though cars always need repair. Christmas arrives, and it feels like a surprise, even though it comes every single year. At level 1, financial stress is constant, but invisible. You feel it without understanding it. You believe that earning more will solve everything. It will not. And that belief is exactly what keeps you here. Something shifts at level 2, you start to notice. Maybe it was a moment of real financial pain. A bounced payment, a rejected card, a number on a screen that made your stomach drop. Whatever it was, it cracked something open. Suddenly you are paying attention. You download a budgeting app. You look at your bank statements for the first time in months. You feel a mixture of shame and clarity, because now you can see exactly where the money has been going. Level 2 is uncomfortable and necessary. This is where you learn the difference between a want and a need. This is where you realize that your daily coffee, your unused subscriptions, your impulsive online purchases have been quietly draining you for years. Most people reach level 2 after a financial crisis. The rare few reach it by choice. Both paths lead to the same awakening, and that awakening changes everything that comes next. At level 3, something powerful happens. You stop reacting and start deciding. You have a budget, and you actually follow it. You have an emergency fund forming, slowly but deliberately. You have eliminated the debts that were bleeding you quietly every month. There is a feeling at this level that is difficult to describe unless you have experienced it. The feeling of your money doing exactly what you told it to do. For the first time in your life, your paycheck has a plan before it arrives. You know your numbers. You know your fixed costs, your variable expenses, your savings rate. You are no longer surprised by your own bank account. But here is what is critical to understand about level 3. It is stable, but it is not yet powerful. You are controlling the flow, but you are not yet multiplying it. You have stopped the bleeding. Now it is time to learn how to grow. Level 4 is where the game changes completely. This is where you stop thinking about money as something you earn and start thinking about it as something you deploy. You open your first investment account. You learn what compound interest actually means. Not as a textbook definition, but as a lived reality you can see growing in your portfolio month after month. You understand the difference between an asset and a liability at a visceral level. You start making decisions based on future value rather than present comfort. At this level, you begin to see time differently. You understand that every dollar invested today is worth significantly more in 10, 20, 30 years. You start to feel slightly impatient with your own salary because you understand that trading time for money has a ceiling and capital does not. Level 4 people look calm on the outside, but inside their minds are always calculating, always asking one question: how do I make this money work harder than I do? This is the level most financial gurus never tell you about because it is not about spreadsheets or investment strategies. Level 5 is psychological. At this level, you understand that your relationship with money is a mirror of your relationship with yourself. You begin to study your own patterns, why you overspend when you are stressed, why you feel guilty when you save, why financial success sometimes feels dangerous or unfamiliar. You realize that you have been operating with a financial blueprint installed in childhood. Beliefs about money absorbed from your parents, your community, your culture. And you understand that no strategy in the world will work if that blueprint is still running in the background. Level 5 is where people do the uncomfortable inner work. They examine their money wounds, their scarcity beliefs, their unconscious ceilings. And when they clear those, something extraordinary begins to happen. The external results start to match the internal shift. At level 6, you stop working for money entirely and start making money work in systems. You understand leverage in every dimension. You use other people's time through teams and delegation. You use other people's money through credit, partnerships, and investment. You build income streams that do not require your daily presence. A rental property earns while you sleep. A business earns while you vacation. A portfolio compounds while you focus on the next opportunity. People at level 6 think in systems, not tasks. They ask not how do I do this, but how do I build something that does this without me. This shift in thinking is so profound that it literally changes how they spend every hour of every day. Level 6 people are often misunderstood by those at lower levels. They appear to be doing less while achieving exponentially more. That is not luck. That is the inevitable result of understanding how leverage actually works. Level 7 is rare, genuinely rare. At this level, money is no longer the goal, it is the tool. People at level 7 are building something larger than their own financial security. They are thinking in decades, not months. They are making decisions based on legacy, impact, and generational wealth. They ask questions that most people never even consider. What will my wealth look like in 50 years? What systems am I building that will outlive me? What financial education am I passing to my children and their children? At this level, the psychology of money becomes almost philosophical. There is a deep understanding that wealth without purpose is just accumulation, that money without wisdom is dangerous. Level 7 individuals are studying history, studying civilizations, studying how dynasties were built and destroyed. They are not trying to get rich. They are trying to build something that lasts. And that difference in intention produces an entirely different quality of financial decisions. Research in behavioral economics consistently shows that financial outcomes are determined less by knowledge and more by behavior. Studies from Harvard, Stanford, and the London School of Economics all point to the same conclusion. Emotional regulation, delayed gratification, and self-awareness are stronger predictors of financial success than income level or formal education. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for long-term planning and impulse control, is literally more active in high financial intelligence individuals during money decisions. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, hijacks financial decisions in people operating at lower levels, causing panic selling, impulsive spending, and avoidance of financial planning altogether. What this means is profound and slightly uncomfortable. Becoming financially intelligent is not just about learning more. It is about rewiring how your brain responds to money, scarcity, opportunity, and risk. It is neurological work as much as it is financial work. So here's the question that matters. Which level are you actually at right now? Not which level you want to be at. Not which level you tell people you are at. Which level are you actually living at today in the real decisions you make with real money? Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled with more information. It is filled with honest self-awareness, consistent behavior change, and the courage to examine beliefs about money that you have never questioned before. Every person at level 7 started at level 1. Every financial dynasty began with someone who decided to pay attention. The levels are not fixed. They are not determined by your background, your education, or how much money your parents had. They are determined by what you decide to do next, today, this week, this year. The question is not whether you can move up. The question is whether you are willing to do what that movement actually requires. That answer belongs entirely to you.